and to share your lived experiences of the topics we introduce. And today, Jerry, we are especially asking the young members, the young adults of the Take Two family. So if you're between about 15 to 25 years old, call in. Would you please? We need to tap into your wisdom about this subject of living in today's world, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I was hoping you would expand the age range a little bit because I still think like a young adult.
You still act like a young adult sometimes, too.
Oh, well,
sometimes.
Good. I'm glad you didn't go younger than that, Act like a little child sometimes. Yeah, young adults, I would say, we don't have to necessarily put an age range on it. I guess you can go up into your 30s or 40s. But if you are a young adult, we want to hear from you today just about living in today's world. As you look around the world, what do you see? Are you inspired and motivated? What about your educational choices? Are you confident that you're going to be able to find a spouse with your faith and values? How do you see the labor market today? Buying a home, all sorts of ideological shifts have taken place in our world. And so we want to know, as you look out over that world today as a young adult, are you hopeful? Are you motivated? Are you just going to take it on head first? 833-288 EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe at 15 years old, you're not thinking about finding a spouse and, what you're going to do for your life's work. But you're thinking of other choices too, and maybe you're 17, 18 years old and you're thinking, should I go to college? Is it worth it? I've heard such things, such terrible things that happen on college campuses of how, the indoctrination and things that happen that, it could be scary. It's a whole different world. It's different from the world that I grew up in. Maybe you're thinking that, or maybe you're super excited because you think you're going to change the world. You're going to go out there and you're going to make a difference. And I think that is wonderful. I love big hopes and dreams. I always say we dream big with God, but then we need to dream bigger because we serve a very big God. So if you're a young adult and you're part of the Take Two family, listen, if you're listening right now, you're part of the Take Two family. You do not have to be Catholic to call in. We need to hear from you. We're talking about young adults. Now, how about if we don't get, an abundance of calls because, kids are in school, they're working, all sorts of things. So they're busy. How about parents of young adults? Okay, maybe you've had great conversations with your teens and your college age students, and maybe you want to share some of those conversations with us because we want to learn and grow. That's what Take Two is all about. So being a young adult in today's world, we want to cover it from all angles. Maybe you're a clergy member, a priest, or a deacon, and some of the young adults have come to you, a youth minister. How about youth ministers, religious education folks? How about the teens have come to you and said, hey, I'm concerned about this, I'm concerned about that. Share with us what their needs, their concerns, their wants, their desires, their dreams. We want to hear it all. Okay? 833-288-3986.
Yeah, we'll just say if you, if you feel or think like a young adult, you can certainly call in and contribute to today's conversation. That number again, 833-288-3986. And as I was thinking about the show, Debbie, I was kind of doing a little bit of research online about some of the issues facing young adults today, and there's so many. They do surveys and studies of the attitudes and ideas and philosophies of young adults compared to a generation ago or 2 generations ago. And I think there's just a lot of uncertainty in today's world. So we really want to hear from you if you identify as a young adult. And again, we'll let you put the age bracket on that. But if you're kind of trying to navigate today's world, maybe you see some unique challenges that your parents or grandparents didn't face, or maybe you have learned to, approach those challenges with a certain zeal and a vigor, and maybe you are looking for ways that you can make a positive difference in today's world. 833-288 3986.
And how has the pandemic affected the young adults in the world? Your children, your grandchildren. Have you heard comments about that? Coming through the pandemic. I mean, I know we're still dealing with other things happening, but this idea of being separated and then being reintroduced into society. It's kind of a strange kind of dynamic that I think there's that skip in a child and young adult's development movement that happened with the pandemic. And that's unfortunate. We hear that a lot of people are suffering with low-grade depression because of it. A lot of young adults, a lot of teens are really contemplating some serious destructive choices for themselves, like going to some addictions, marijuana, drugs, even attempted suicides. It's very, very troubling to hear the statistics on this with our young adults. I never heard of it before until recently, Jerry, and I have to tell you, I think it's time we wake up and realize what's happening with the future of this world, the future of our church, the amazing young kids that are going to pick up the torch and keep running. We want to equip them well. And are we doing that spiritually? That's a good, I'd like to challenge all the pastors who are listening. We have a lot of pastors and bishops, believe it or not, that listen to Take Two. Please, fathers, speak about this in your homilies, because I think our kids are hurting. I really do.
Yeah, I think you touch on something very, very important, because most parishes have youth groups and maybe activities for seniors and so forth. A lot of young adults, maybe you feel like you've fallen through the cracks, in your parish or in the pastoral care the church has given you. How is your faith life? Is your faith life strong as you have encountered many of the challenges in the world? Maybe you went off to college and you've graduated now, and you maybe had to struggle to hold on to your faith. Maybe you lost your faith. If you're listening to us right now, we can talk about all of these things. Talking about it's really getting harder to buy a home. Are you having to rent? Do you ever think you're going to be able to own a home? What about the labor market?
That's an understatement.
Yeah, exactly.
To buy a home, the renters market now. The apartments are going up like crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then in terms of education and your profession, are you working in the profession that you were trained in, educated in? All of these things we can talk about. So young adults, we need you right now on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and you, 833-288-3986 is the number. We have Ace, Jeff, and Matt, the show team, in place. Debbie and I are here with you. Now we're just waiting to hear from you about this topic today, young adults navigating today's world. Let us hear from you.
Someone asked me a question the other day. They said, Chris, if you can go back and talk to your 35-year-old self when your kids were a little younger and you were a little younger, what would you say? I said, you spend so much time and energy, Chris, when your kids are little, at building up that life you're dreaming of having, that ministry you're dreaming of having, that career you're dreaming of having, that it's easy to overlook the fact that life is already upon you. You're living it. You're in it right now. There's a great saying that life is what happens when you're making plans. Listen, it's necessary to make those plans and to strive in life. Don't get me wrong. It's necessary to work really hard if you're providing for a family, but don't get so lost in all that you forget that the dream you're working for is here, now, under your nose. Take the time to stop and enjoy it, or you miss out on the most important things in life. They're sitting around your table. They're in the car next to you as you listen to me on the radio right now. Soak it in. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com.
As a kid, summer reading became the norm for some. Maybe you were that kid that moaned and complained with every book, but realized the benefit not just in the adventure of what you read, but the community with others who read it with you. That's the same experience you will have when you join the Inspired by Faith Book Club. You'll see each month's selection for the summer and be able to read it all summer long. You can simply join for free today when you click on the book club tab at standtalltoday.com. That's standtalltoday.com. Okay, young adults or parents of young adults, call us. We need to hear your take on the topic we're introducing, being a young adult in today's world. 833-288-3986. And you'll speak to another young adult in Matt Gabinski, our call screener, who's wonderful to talk to. So please call him. He's waiting. I think he's really going to love this topic, so he can meet some of his peers and share their wisdom, which is great. We need to hear from you. But before we go to the phones, let me just share how appropriate and how timely, given that article that was just circulated about how rosaries, all the target and all the attack on the rosary. I think it's wonderful that we are offering an olive wood single decade auto rosary. Yes, that is correct. So you can have that beautiful rosary in your car. I do. I have an amazing rosary from John Paul II. Anyway, this new item to EWTN Religious Catalog is made with round olive wood beads and an oval miraculous metal. Oh, I love that. Don't forget to get your rosary blessed before you put it in your car. Please do so. It has the miraculous metal centerpiece and a special olive wood cross with an inlaid crucifix. Nice. Around the border of the centerpiece in Latin are the words, "O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us." It includes a lobster claw clasp, so it can be easily stored on the rear view mirror when you're not using it. It's imported from Italy. I love that. Available now at EWTNRC.com. Free standard shipping on orders of $75 or more. Just use the code FREE at checkout. But you know what? Let me just share something real quickly. I mean, how timely. I think it's beautiful. And I just want to say again, to all the wonderful people that are going on social media, and they are ramping up and just increasing their rosary time and their prayers. I think what a beautiful display. I am so proud at this moment in my life to be Catholic, along with the rest of everyone else who loves Our Lady so very much. I think it's beautiful timing, and I would definitely get that auto rosary.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds very, very appealing. All right, we're going to get to your calls right now. We do have a couple lines still open as we are asking the young adult members of the Take Two family, or maybe you're a parent of a young adult, a friend of a young adult, and you would like to share, what they're going through, or maybe your own personal experience in the world today with regard to, education and romance and just making a difference in the world. And as I said earlier, all of these ideological, way out things are being promoted today. So how, as a young adult, are you navigating all of that? 833-288-3986. And we'll start with Mary, who is in Niles, Michigan, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Hello?
Yes. Welcome.
Yes. I am a parent of 3 boys. One is totally out in the world doing his thing. 2 young adults, kind of the topic. One is a Michigan State senior, doing pretty well, but very timid and shy because of COVID and everything, so that affected him. The other one just graduated high school, and he missed all the driver's ed training, so that's been kind of like making him also shy. The trend today, the woke world, has thrown him into a tailspin for the last 5 or 6 years. I've been dealing with that. And he was my boy who went to Mass with me every Sunday, and I had him and my husband, we would go, and he had no complaints to go. And now the girlfriend who showed up in his life is saying she's like an atheist and and I am talking to him like, are you going to be Peter? Are you going to deny him? So I'm asking for prayers to deal with this. I feel like a watermelon in my stomach. Thank you.
Yeah, Mary, God bless you. And I have not had kids. Debbie has kids, it sounds like, around your kids' age. But, it's just, man, we were talking with somebody yesterday on the show, and I just made the point, that it's really a David and Goliath type situation right now in the world, Debbie. I think so many things are being thrown at our kids and our young adults, and it really kind of broke my heart to hear Mary talking about this one son in particular who, used to go to Mass with them and willingly and happily so, and now is maybe not quite maintaining that level of a faith life, and how the woke world has thrown him into a tailspin, as she said. So I don't know, what are your thoughts? You've got experience with your own kids and also in religious education.
Well, this is exactly what I was sharing at the beginning of the show with the pandemic. And she had shared that her boys having this, shy kind of reintroduction into society. I think that's why our life coaching ministry, Jerry, at standtalltoday.com has exploded, and people have really, taken us up on the offer of wanting to assist them and walk with them on a plan that makes them have their best life, to live out life with passion and purpose. I think that can always help. There's a lot of resources out there with life coaching or counseling or any type of therapy in that area to get people to feel comfortable again. So that's one part. So the resources are there, and there's many books, many self-help books on the shelves to pull from as well. But as you know, for meeting a mate that is evenly yoked, being in a world where you are Christian and the world is obviously, so much of it is anti-Christian, I think, in my personal humble opinion, one of the ways to really combat that is to instill an understanding of the role of the guardian angels in our lives. Psalm 91, very, very powerful. People may or may not realize this, but Psalm 91 is used during exorcisms sometimes. Okay, so what does that tell you? So Psalm 91, I think, is extremely powerful, and to start the understanding of the role of the guardian angels to illuminate people's minds, to strengthen their will, to help them get to heaven. When an individual realizes they have a person walking beside them, and I say person but it's a complete spirit, right? There's no body with an angel. It's pure spirit, right? But that messenger from God is beholding the face of God at the same time ministering to that person. So you have a spiritual helpmate walking with you, okay, to help you live your best life and get closer to God. When a person realizes that, Jerry, I think it's a game changer. And I think that's the way to get to our young adults, because I think sometimes just talking about God or, the Catholic faith in this world, it's such a turnoff to the young adults because they're being fed by the other side. Oh, you don't need God. You don't need this. You don't need that. And it's terrible. But so you come at it from a different angle so that people can get reintroduced to the amazing gifts and blessings that God gives us. And one of them is the guardian angels.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And again, Mary, we promise you not only our prayers, but the prayers of the Take Two family. I'm sure Debbie has put your sons and you and your family in our prayer book already. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So be aware of those prayers. Hopefully you will feel those prayers and see good fruit come from them. So thanks again for the call. 833-288-3986. The experience of young adults in today's world. If you are a young adult, or maybe a parent or a friend or a grandparent, or just maybe a coworker, a colleague of young adults, share your perspective on this. 833-288-3986. And Anna is in Evans, Georgia, listening on St. Paul Radio. Welcome, Anna.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
I'm a young adult, so I thought I'd give some of my input from my experience. During COVID, I had moved to a new place, and I didn't know anyone, and you don't make friends during COVID, and I had just graduated from college. But then I stumbled upon a young adult group here in Augusta, Georgia, and it has made a huge difference, like night and day, from being real depressed and isolated. But now I have friends, and they're not just friends, but they share my faith, so they can really help me if I'm struggling with anything, and I can support them. And it's also just a real blessing to have a young adult group, because I think my whole life I've struggled. I never had a youth group in high school, or not a strong group of campus ministry in college. So I kind of just want to share this for any pastors maybe who are out there. Please make young adult groups, because if us young adults are ever going to get married and raise Catholic kids, we have to actually meet each other.
Right.
Absolutely. Anna, thank you so much for taking the time and calling in. Jerry and I are so grateful to you. We completely agree with you. And that's why we're hoping that a lot of priests and pastors and bishops are listening to this show today, specifically to make young adult ministry a priority in the church. Please, fathers, we are begging you. That's why I loved the programs like Theology on Tap and all sorts of young adult groups that came out of adult formation, and they would go into the community and they would reach the young adults, and they would make an effort to reconnect with college-age students as they came home for breaks. Anna, I think you found this peer group, this peer support group of a spiritual nature, and it's been very good for you. What I would suggest, Anna, is grow this group, grow it. And let me tell you why I say that. Sometimes these youth ministry groups, they start out with 12, 20 people, right? And then it dwindles down because people move or they change or they get married or they move out of the group. Then the group starts to shrink, okay? And then before you know it, there's only like one or two people, and it really does, it's really not really a group anymore. It's kind of like just friendships that have been built, or a little bit of a clique that happens with a few people. Keep growing the group, because you're going to see that you'll be able, people's lives will change, people's situations will change. But if you have a big enough group that you can come back to, you will always find that support in that wonderful, in kind of that base camp, if you will. And that's what we need. We need to start forming these base camps. What do you think, Anna?
I think you're totally right, Debbie. The group I'm part of has been around for 15 years. Like, praise God.
Great.
Because you're right, there's a lot of turnover, but we're trying. We're trying to keep building it. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you're just pointing out, Anna, a very, what should be an obvious reality, and that is the necessity and importance of our faith, raising our kids in a strong Catholic environment, and doing your best through your example and your words and your prayers to make sure they remain Catholic when they, say, go off to college or something like that. And the power of our faith is, it's evident, Anna, the difference it has made in your life. So really want to thank you for taking the time to call in and share this with us, and just be a part of the Take Two family. We're blessed to have you with us on the show. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a
God bless you.
day.
What a beautiful spirit. Okay, we also should do a shout out to Focus Ministries that are on the college campuses and the Newman Centers. You guys are doing all a great job trying to keep our youth connected to Holy Mother Church. That is wonderful, and to evangelize and to spread the gospel message. But I was really appealing with Anna on the phone, Jerry, to our priests that are listening, and that's why I was saying, fathers, please make these young adults a priority, because I think they are going out there into the world, and so many of them are not equipped to face what is happening. I know at my age, in my upper 50s, I'm still feel like sometimes I'm not fully equipped to go out there. Mm-hmm. The world can be a harsh, cruel place when it comes to religion and spirituality. So I just think our young adults need to be fully ready to go out there into the world and be Christ to others.
Yeah, and that, we all want to be liked, and we all want to fit in, and all of those things, and you don't want to be kind of ostracized by your peer groups just because you think or believe differently than they do. True. Okay, 833-288-3986, calling all young adults to join us and share your experience of living today's world. And we will go next to Brittany in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, listening on Alexa. Hello, Brittany. Thanks for calling.
Hi, yeah, thank you for taking my call. I actually pretty much can resonate with the previous caller. I'm also a young adult. I'm 29 years old, and I feel the same way that, like, especially with my generation, I feel like just being on social media, you see so many viewpoints that are definitely contrary to the church. And so it can be difficult because you kind of feel isolated in your beliefs. And so, being able to have a young adult group, like my church, my parish also has one. And it kind of started off small, like maybe, 6 people. And so it's actually grown. We have about 20 people now that have, said that they're interested in attending and things like that. And we usually just go through, like a book study just to kind of help us practically live out our faith. And I think that helps a lot because we tackle, like, tough issues and things that, again, are just contrary to, I guess, popular beliefs among my age group. So, yeah, I guess just reiterating what the previous caller said, I just think it's really important to have a community of like-minded believers that you can, lean on for support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Brittany, you are awesome. I just love that you're doing a book study with your peer group. I think that is wonderful. Keep this book in mind when you, I don't know if you kind of vote on what books you're going to tackle or even some books that are on your reading list, but maybe explore Joan Carroll Cruz's book, Angels and Devils. Okay, for me, it is a game changer. She did a phenomenal job laying out the theology of angels and also the understanding of the demons. And it is very powerful for the spiritual life. And what you're talking about, Brittany, is going out there and being a mini apologist amongst your peers. And that's tough to do. But when you understand the spiritual war that's happening, it's very interesting how it plays out in our worldly life, right? It's very interesting. So when you understand that of what's going on, and you start to see it for what it is, you know how to navigate these waters. It becomes very clear how to do it. And I've often said that the sooner our young people understand the spiritual war that's happening, the better equipped they will be to go out into the world. Jerry?
Brittany, thank you for the call. Just being in the same room with people in your own age group and belief system can make a difference. One doesn't have to be brilliantly creative to start a young adult group. Just get the people together and let the Holy Spirit do the work.
Amen to that. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Please join us, 833-288-3986.
Cy Kellett, Joan Lewis, Colin Donovan.
The leading Catholic voices are on the largest Catholic media network in the world. You're listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
You know, we talk story with each of our very unique guests for the whole hour, so that you can go deep with us as you yourself pursue your own story of heroic virtue and as you pursue intimacy with God.
The Bear Wozniak Adventure, Saturday night, 6 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Want to be notified when Take Two with Jerry and Debbie goes live on Facebook? Follow EWTN Radio's Facebook page and click on the bell icon to be notified.
EWTN, teaching the truth.
When it comes to the Catholic side of my life, both the radio and the television programming from EWTN and other resources run throughout my day, and I've got my house all wired up, so I'm constantly hearing Catholic radio all throughout the house and then EWTN on that.
When I found this app, discovered all these other wonderful programs, I listen to this app all the time.
EWTN Radio brings you the Holy Rosary twice each day for over 25 years. Tune in every morning at 5:30 Eastern for Mother Angelica and every evening at 9:30 Eastern for Father Benedict Rochelle, only on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett, host of Catholic Answers Live. Later today, we've got the Flannel Panel covering the news from a Catholic perspective. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
So good to have you with us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. It is your show. And we know we have a lot of young adults as part of the Take Two family, and we're asking you to call in today. Again, you can define the age range for young adult. If you are a young adult, feel like a young adult, think like one. Maybe you've got some experience to share as a parent of young adults about just being in today's world and taking on the many challenges that are out there, also the many opportunities for that matter. We'd love to hear from any young adults. If you have gotten your education, you've got a great job, you're working in your desired field, and maybe you own a home, maybe you found that ideal spouse already. 833-288-3986.
Okay, we just a shout out to Mary and Andrew and the others that were on the line speaking to Matt. You seem to have dropped off. Please call back. We'll kind of hold a little spot for you to come back in if you want to call this number, 833-288-3986. Can I just share with you, though, I love the youth. I just love them. We have, Marty and I have 4 boys ranging in, not we have, but next door, our neighbors, 4 boys next door ranging from age 8 to age 16. 4 boys. And they are so sweet. They are so sweet. And they, every once in a while, we live in Arizona where we have block walls that separate our yards, and not like back east where you have beautiful, lush, green grass and trees. We don't have that in Arizona. We like kind of live in a little individual prison in our home, in our homes. But the youngest boy, Micah, who must be off of school today or something, because he climbs up on the block wall and he'll just lean over the block wall and he'll say, "What are you doing, Deb? What do you, how's your day?" It's so sweet. Kids are innocent and they want to be kids, and they want to grow up in quote unquote just a normal, relaxing, beautiful way. And that's what we're trying to do this show, to give people ideas on how to just let kids be kids and grow into really wonderful adults.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, back to your calls about young adults, if you are one or you're a parent of one. Janet in Tega Cay, South Carolina, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Janet.
Hi, can you hear me?
Very well.
Great. I have 3 young adult girls, aging from 25, 21, and 17. I have a senior. And all 3 of them have gone through Catholic high school, all Catholic schools all the way. I was active in the, middle school corps and the life team. And then I have one, the oldest one is involved with the young adults, and she's now married, and her husband, who was not Catholic, participates in young adult programs. So I think it's awesome that we have those available to us. My 21-year-old, she left the church at the age of 18. She said, I've been going to Catholic school forever, doing what you said. I want to figure it out myself. And here we are 3 years later. She's very respectful of the faith, but she doesn't participate at all. So anyway, just kind of being a little cautious with my 17-year-old as we're looking at colleges and so forth. I'm wanting to make sure to include, Catholic colleges at least in some of our tours that we do. So, I'm so grateful for the focus group also. We're definitely going to try to get to a school at least that has the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Absolutely. May I just say first, Janet, you did a great job. I mean, raising your kids in the faith and exposing them to the Catholic faith in a rich way through Catholic schools. You did a great, I think a fabulous job in doing that. And you took it seriously. And obviously you probably had to make some sacrifices to do that because Catholic schools aren't cheap. And it's, I sent my kids to public school because at the time I was in ministry and my husband was in sales, and we were commission based and we couldn't afford it. So our kids went to public school because the Catholic schools were pretty expensive where we live. And so you did a really good job in that. The one thing is, as being a religious education director for many years, I worked in the parishes for over 25 years actively. And I will tell you that there comes a point where the kids need to own their faith. They need to own their own, relationship with God. And when does that happen? And, every priest, every parish community has a different kind of idea of when to kind of, let kids explore their own understanding of the faith, as as opposed to being fed the faith and taught the faith continuously in religious education. And I personally, Janet, just to let you know, I used to say to kids all the time when they were at junior high age. Why did I pick junior high age? Because that's when I did my master's thesis on adolescent spirituality, and that's when most vocations are thought of in the adolescent age. Okay, that was a long explanation. Okay, here's what my comment, Jerry and Janet. During that junior high age, why is it that these kids are so difficult to live with? Okay. Everybody always says the hormones, everything, they're changing, so parents are exhausted with their adolescent school age kids. Okay. But the demons know that. See, the demons know that. And it's so interesting how we want that time span to pass very quickly and have the kids get into a young adult phase. But you know what's important? That adolescent age is important for these kids to really understand and take ownership of their faith at that point, I believe. Because the demons know it. That's why they play on that age group so well. So think about that a little. Now, your kids are past that, Janet, but I'm talking to folks that have younger kids. But what do you think about that, Janet and Jerry? Comments, Janet?
Yeah, I do agree with that. That makes perfect sense. It is a very exhausting time, and I do think the demons like to go after those who are especially close. I think the Catholics wearing their little, crucifix or miraculous medal. I just think they think it's awesome to try to get someone from that group.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they're always looking for someone to devour, as one of our prayers says. But, I was thinking, as you were talking, Janet, about the scripture passage. It's in multiple Gospels, I think, about Jesus talks about building the house on rock or building a house on sand. And I echo what Debbie said. You did a fantastic job of giving them that rock foundation. So even this 21-year-old who is, like you said, she's respectful but has kind of left to practice the faith, that foundation is there. The graces of God will still be working through the sacraments she has received. So I hope that you are hopeful for a return for her, back to the faith, and for all of your kids to just be the wonderful adults that you worked so hard to raise them to be.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And thank you, Janet, for the call. Again, go, folks, go from the angle of the guardian angels. See, angels, it's very hard for people to dismiss angels. Angels cross all faiths, all denominations, all belief systems. Okay, so angels are something it's a conversation starter, but it expands from there. I always say that we got to approach religious education or even evangelization a little bit differently now. We're in different times, Jerry.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to get to Eric and Venetia in just a second. First, I want to tell you that several of our EWTN radio family members are celebrating their anniversaries this week. There are many hundreds of Catholic radio stations on the air, so every week there are some anniversaries being celebrated. And Divine Mercy Radio in Wyoming is 8 years on the air this week. And WICX Hope Radio in Concord, New Hampshire is celebrating 7 years of great Catholic radio with EWTN. So congratulations to both of those fine ministries.
Way to go, you guys. Keep going. We need Catholic radio now more than ever. Eric in Los Angeles, California on Sirius XM 130. You have been waiting so patiently, Eric. I think you get our Virtual Patience Award today. Welcome.
Yes, I have a good question for young adults. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we can.
Perfectly.
I'm autistic, and I wanted to know, there's no really special needs young adult groups out there, ministries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're talking about in the Catholic Church, Eric, or just in general?
Yes.
Yes.
In the Catholic Church.
Well, let me share something with you, the reality of the situation in various dioceses around the country, Eric. There's not a lot that's happening in a massive way for young adults, period, whether they have special needs or not. I mean, it's just something that happens. We are, the sacraments take priority in our church, which is understandable. So you spend a lot of time and effort, and the budget, goes to that. And then as people advance, as kids advance in the church, there are youth ministry groups in general. Sometimes they're hard to get, to staff those. And, a lot of them have gone to volunteer, teams. And that's always problematic because you don't know if people are going to show up or not. And so you don't have that kind of basis there sometimes. Some groups are just bursting at the seams and flourishing. You got Life Teens still going strong and everything. But then the church kind of relies on the focus groups and Newman, the Newman Center and all the ministries that are on campus. So I do agree with you, Eric, that in that space between the sacraments and going off to college, there is a definite gap and there's a definite need. Now, with that need, there needs to come, the funds that can support that, because you can only do so much and beg so much for volunteers, and it's tough. So that's my personal assessment of the situation. I've been dealing with it for many years. It used to bother me terribly, Eric. I used to see things at parishes. They would spend money in a certain ministry because somebody at the parish had a passion for it, but yet I would see youth groups just not doing well, and that was very frustrating. So I'm with you on that, Eric. What do you think, Jer?
No, I think you answered brilliantly as always. And Eric, I would just maybe ask you the question, have you thought or prayed about maybe starting something, talking to your pastor, maybe starting a group that meets your needs and the special needs of others? Because, there are donors and parishioners who have a heart for certain ministries and outreaches, and could easily be, approached about, funding something like this, and you never know what might happen. Have you given that thought or talked to your pastor, Eric?
No, I just probably think it's a little too stressful.
Okay. Well, be praying about this, because if this is on your heart, Eric, chances are it's on somebody else's heart and maybe a lot of other people's hearts as well. And just ask God, ask the Holy Spirit to put it on someone's heart who would have the wherewithal to start something like this, and maybe that the funds would be provided for your parish to do this. And we'll definitely be praying for you. It sounds like you really want to get connected with others, young adults who share your life experience as well, Eric. So be assured of our prayers, okay?
Thank you, and God bless you guys. And I'm a big fan.
Oh, thanks, Eric.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. That made our day, actually our year. We don't get many compliments, so that really helps. Thanks, Eric. Okay, I'm just teasing. You guys have always been so kind to us. I love the Take Two family. Can I just share one of our Take Two family members who we especially just have, a big love and fondness for, and that's John, who emails us on a regular basis. And John sent me an email. John, you made my day. I smiled from ear to ear when I read your email. John sent me an email. He said he finally, after me having heard me say about Padre Pio so many times on the show, he picked up a book on Padre Pio, and he is hooked. He loves Padre Pio, and Padre Pio is going to be one of his go-to saints. And John, I felt like I won the lottery reading your email. I was so happy, and I actually looked up to the heavens, and I said, Padre, another one of your spiritual sons is coming your way. And so John, we just love you to pieces. And you have a very beautiful position in our hearts, because you constantly check in with us, and that makes us feel good.
Yeah, we love getting your emails anytime. Take2@EWTN.com, and we're not fishing for compliments, but they do come in every now and then. But like Eric said, he's a big fan of ours. Well, Eric, we're a big fan of yours, because you're part of that Take Two family that drives the program every day. So
true.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, we're going to go
to... Yeah, we can't do it without the Take Two family.
No way.
We'd be boring. Well, actually, you and I... Huh? Go ahead.
We might be interesting for 5 minutes or something like that.
I'm telling you, folks, you think I'm kidding. Jerry and I almost got kicked out of several restaurants. We laughed so hard on the silliest things, right?
Yeah. All right, let's hear what Venetia has to say in San Antonio, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Venetia.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I've been on both sides of the with young adult ministry. When I was in college, at a junior college, I was involved in campus ministry, and then when I moved to finish my degree, I was also involved in campus ministry. And when I came back home and graduated to San Antonio, there was really nothing for me to come back to. And I was on fire, so I went back to my home parish, and I got involved in a bunch of ministries. And of course, they were all it's a older parish, and so all the elderly were like, "Where are all the young adults?" And I said, they're starting their families, finishing school, and so it's hard for young adults, at different stages in life, right? Finishing school and going, getting married, finding what our vocation is, right? And so you also have, and then we do have like young adult ministry still, and there was one of the young adult, actually she's a young adult, she's a campus minister here in town, and she started a group me chat, and it has over 800 young adults, close to 800, and we share events, and we've also set up other chats where we have like an outdoor chat, like a outdoor group. We have a daily mass group me where we help, we encourage everybody to go to mass every day. Or we'll do like adoration. And there's the Archdiocese does have young adult ministry, and they do have several events throughout the month that young adults can attend. So we still have theology on tap. We started worship on the river, and there's also the young Catholic professionals that young adults in San Antonio and surrounding areas can attend. So it's really nice to have that those communities, right? And so I was hearing what Debbie was saying, that it was hard to fund these positions, and it's true because there has been a downfall in that office in our archdiocese, and so I can imagine what smaller dioceses have in rural areas, right, of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Venetia, great call. And you're right. A lot of, in fact, probably most dioceses have an office of, say, youth and young adult ministry and so forth, but it has to find its way down to the parish level. And a lot of parishes, as Debbie has mentioned on the show today already, are kind of strapped for money, and you got to kind of make judicious decisions. A pastor does about where he's going to invest those resources. But your experience, I would like to think, is shared by a lot of people, but I'm not really sure it is. I hope it is. But this is such a crucial age range, the young adult age range, because you're discovering yourselves, you're getting educations, marrying and starting families, fighting to hold on to the faith in a world that's otherwise kind of hostile to the faith. So it's beautiful to hear your experience, Venetia, and I hope it inspires maybe others who are listening who don't have all the things that you mentioned to maybe take a step forward and try and develop those.
Mm-hmm. Venetia, I just want to tell you real quickly, I love the fire that's in your belly. I love that Holy Spirit fire. Please keep that, and please spread it far and wide. We need more Venetias in the world. I'm telling you, it's getting darker by the minute, and it's not good. And so we need people on fire, going out there and changing the world. And I think you're one of those special people. What do you think? Yep, up for the continued challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was giving up on it, but yeah, that's assertive, like what you were saying. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh yeah. One person. Oh, thank you. I just want to share something real quick. This is very interesting, folks. People may not know this. You may not know what goes behind the scenes of ministry at parishes. Jerry, you can attest to this. Okay. If you're a religious education a teacher or director, or if you're in sacramental prep, okay, and you have all these people that are born and raised Catholic, cradle Catholics, right, and you're going along, you're doing all the programs, you're doing all the formation, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes somebody who comes into the church as a convert, or a family of newly received Catholics into the church that were converts from a Protestant faith. Okay, all of a sudden your program, your religious education program, it just skyrockets. Why? Because that one person that comes in with the fire in their belly that just says, come on, let's read more scripture. Come on. Oh, this is so amazing. Oh, this is exciting. Do you know what this means for us? That enthusiasm, that excitement changes everything. And Venetia, I see that, I hear that in your voice. And you know what? We need more young adults who have that fire, in the Holy Spirit fire in their belly, to light up the world in a good way.
Yes, thank you. And I like what you said earlier about how that it's important for young adults to have like ownership of their faith. And I think that through campus ministry in college, and through having mutual friends and through that I met through young adult ministry, that has helped me to be on fire, with my faith, and to also share my knowledge with those that are not as knowledgeable, right? And even though it's sometimes hard with my family, right, because I don't want to push it on them, oh, here comes, you're talking about church, and it's like, I just pray for them because that's all I can do, and God can do the rest, right? Mm-hmm. And so...
Yeah. I agree, Venetia. Sometimes I like to say we need to do our very best, and God will do the remaining 100%. So thanks, Venetia. Appreciate you joining us. Great call. Thank you so much. Richard is in Kansas listening to us on Divine Mercy Radio. Hi, Richard. Welcome.
Hello. I just wonder, I'm kind of the opposite of what you're talking about there, but I'm a grandfather at 75 years old. I just want to tell you all the stupid things I did when I was younger, and try to advise that some of you younger people, younger parents who are trying to get through this world, trying to raise a family, my heart goes out to you, and I pray for you every night, as I pray for my 2 children, who are in their 50s, by the way. But I'm going to say, you mothers got to hang in there. It's tough raising children right now. And I was a father who was self-employed, and I had trying to get started in a business, my own business, and I had a lot of employees. I always had kind of excuses to stay away from the house at night, and I didn't come home for supper or anything like that. Guys, get off your butt. Don't go out for beer. Go home. Go talk to your family, because they want to talk to you. Back when I was growing up, they were at a point where a lot of the TV programs were saying you didn't need the father in the family. Just the mother could raise the kids. That's wrong, guys. You need to get off your butt. You're very responsible. You're very necessary for this part of raising the family. So get there and help their mama do her job and be part of the family. I mean, I understand if you're self-employed, you got to be at work after hours. Okay, fine, but at least give 2 or 3 nights a week to your children, and don't screw that up like I did. And continue to go to church. I was raised a Catholic. I married a Protestant. That's one thing I want to pass on. If at all possible, marry somebody that's in the faith. If at all possible, and that's not necessary that they be in the faith, but they can. It makes things a lot easier, because you're going to have a lot of other things to fight as you go on. As being a parent, in raising your kids in this crazy world that's now out there. And so dads and moms, just hang in there. You've got a wonderful opportunity, and I pray for you every night, and I'll try to do. I screwed up. It cost me two marriages, and by the grace of God, my children are doing pretty good. They both graduated from college, and one's an engineer and one's graduated in education. But it still is tough to be parents at this time of life, and especially in this country right now. Right. And just know it, that it's not easy. And I tell them, the young men, get off your butts and get home if at all possible, and be a dad. Don't be shortchange yourself as far as you're not a necessary part of the family.
Well, Richard, you've struck a nerve, I think, with a lot of people there. We need to realize our kids are not owned; they're loaned. And I just came up with that. I don't know if anybody's ever said that before, but they're loaned to parents, moms and dads. And I love your exhortation to them, Richard, because there are a lot of parents, I have to believe, who are, like you said, hanging in there, and sometimes they just feel maybe overwhelmed and discouraged and really down about this environment that their kids are being raised in today, doing the best job that they can. So thank you, Richard, for reinforcing that for, I'm sure, a lot of parents today.
Absolutely. Richard, what you did today, I think, really helped a lot of parents, and it's also part of your own personal healing. So be at peace with that, and know that keep talking, keep sharing your lived experience and what you have, understood to be true, having gone the many years that you've lived on this earth, right? We all have. That's why tap into parents and grandparents, folks. It's very important. We've lived a long life. We've learned a lot, and that's why we do this show, Jerry, so we can all grow together.
Yeah, and we're going to have another broadcast for you tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. Are you or one of your siblings named after one of your parents? A lot of people like to have juniors and name their kids after one or more of the parents. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the program. Looking forward to that, Debbie.
Well, you're looking forward to it because I think you were named after some of your parents and grandparents. Not me. My parents couldn't figure out my name. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. If you're named after one of your parents or grandparents, we want to hear from you on tomorrow's show. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We love the Take Two family. St. Joseph, please pray for all of us.
Coming up later today on Cresta in the Afternoon.
Our topics during Cresta in the Afternoon toggle between church teaching and then using that teaching to shine a light on our world. We'll look at Christ in culture, church and world, religion and public life, from abortion to Zechariah and everything in between.